This is the Visions and Tones podcast with Dr. T.
Welcome, Visions and Tones, and I am back again with another entry. I'm talking to an incredible person, Dr. Ashraf Abdelbaky. He's got a PhD in English literature. He's an educator, language specialist, cultural expert, business development officer, and he's the managing director of CALD Connect. Welcome, Doc. It's good to have you.
Thank you.
Finally.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So maybe before we talk about a variety of things, I was sort of interested in asking why English literature?
So back home, I graduated from English department, and then I started my master degree. And I was working as English as assistant lecturer in English department in Faculty of Arts. So since my childhood, I like English, and that's why my father used to encourage me to study English, and that's why I specialize in English.
Right, but there's a difference between. Isn't there a difference between like doing deep English literature than just teaching English in itself?
Yeah, teaching English, it's like ESL, teaching English as a second language. Mm-hmm. But teaching English literature, you teach like poetry, drama, novel, comparative literature. And this is what I did in my PhD. I did a comparative study between some Arabic texts and some English texts.
Right. So what exactly were you looking for in the context of the Arabic text and the English text?
I think it relates to your area of expertise as well, because it's social stratification in Arabic and African novels, selected texts by two writers. I choose the Egyptian writer Abdurrahman Sharkawi. I choose also the Nigerian famous writer and author China Achebe.
Yeah.
So it was studied sociological things, literary, political, and historical as well. Mm-hmm. But my study was a literary study. I was examining that concept, social stratification, and I used a theory of Max Weber, a sociological author about social classes, and I was studying the stratification in these two societies, the Egyptian society in the early 20th century and in the end of the 20th century. Mm-hmm. And also the Nigerian society, which reflects and represented by the authors in their text.
Mm-hmm. Now, Doc, you do also more work with the CALD community. What is the CALD community?
So recently, in 2021, I established my organization, CALD Connect. Mm-hmm. So CALD, for our audience who doesn't know what is CALD, it's a term that started to spread recently all over Australia. It stands for culturally and linguistically diverse communities. Mm-hmm. So CALD Connect, in my organization, I present language and community services. It's dedicated to supporting newly arrived refugees and migrants in their journey to start like a new life here in Australia. Mm-hmm. At the moment, we focus on Newcastle. Mm-hmm. Also, we support them to settle, having like better life here in Australia.
Mm-hmm. When you say languages, what languages in particular? What language services do you offer?
So we offer interpreting and translation service in almost all languages. We have a good network for translators and interpreters all over Australia. In Newcastle, we start to provide on-site interpreters in some places. Mm-hmm. And translation, we receive translation from many places. And we provide translation, we provide localizations, translation of websites. We provide voiceover, we provide video editings, all linguistics features you can find in our websites, caldconnect.com.au.
I mean, your organization is still fairly new. What did you find missing for you to feel like I need to start this organization to sort of cover a niche? What in particular did you find missing within the lives of migrants?
So when I came here, I started to work with government or non-for-profit organizations here in the Hunter region. I joined some organizations, started to work with refugees, with migrants. The same as you remember when I was at the uni, I used to work with international students. Mm-hmm. there was all the time I found that there is still a need. They still do need someone or some place to provide more service and to be advocate for the migrants, especially the refugees, and to support the newly arrived people. That's why I decided to start my organization in something which I'm ready to work in. So language service, my background, as you said, English literature and English language. And I myself, I work as an interpreter. And for the other part, the community service, I worked in many initiatives, many projects since I arrived here back in 2015. So that's why I started CALD Connect. Thanks God, we start to grow recently and start to have a lot of cooperation with some other organizations.
Yeah.
We got acknowledged in some grants and some scholarships.
Do you feel comfortable sharing more about those so that people understand the extent to which your work goes?
Yeah. So we provide for the community service. We help the newly arrived refugees to start their businesses. We are subcontracted by Thrive Refugee Enterprise. Thrive Refugee Enterprise, it's a non-for-profit organization that support the newly arrived refugees with financial support. So what I'm working in is I help like newly arrived refugees in not only Newcastle but all regional New South Wales to start their own business with getting a financial loan free of interest for those who never had any loan before. So at the moment we help a lot of people here in Newcastle, Coffs Harbour, Medell, we have some clients, with people in Wollongong, Cowra, we have some clients in Cowra, in Bathurst, we have a client here. So I'm connected in these regional cities. Wodonga, Albury also we have some client there. We start to promote this service to the newly arrived communities. So in Newcastle here, for example, let me discuss what we have done so far. Recently, we, with the support of Thrive, we helped one client to start a barber shop in Belmont. We helped a client last year to start a restaurant. We helped another client to start a cleaning company. We helped another lady to start her driving school, teaching driving school. We helped a lot of people to buy their cars to work as rideshare drivers. So this is something I'd like to do. I'd like to help the newly arrived people, especially those who have families, they don't have income, and the incomes they are receiving from the government is not enough for them, Centrelink payments, and they don't like to stay on that kind of payments. They like to build their own business. They like to have something for themselves. So we push these people to achieve their dreams. We provide not only the financial support, we provide the mentorship and the coaching and the business training. So if they are struggling, which sometimes happens with some clients, which really makes me feel so bad, I try to do my best to help this business to grow and to stand up again. And also for those who are already successful, just from time to time we check upon them, we see if they need anything with marketing, with guidance. We connect them with other organizations here in the community as well.
Would you say so far there's people that you've helped and they're now well established to the point that they no longer can get back to you, but also the people are helping others to get onto their feet?
That's what makes us unique. We don't just support them at the beginning by the financial support and leave them. No, we stay in touch with them. So we have some successful businesses. We helped also mechanic workshop because we visited him last week and we asked him, are you okay? He said, okay, do you need help? No, I'm okay. I'm well settled. I have my clients. So that's something we like to do. The same for the barber shop. The guy is doing great, amazing in Lake Macquarie in Belmont Shopping Center. A1 cuts. So they are doing very well.
How do they give back to the community themselves to sort of make sure that they are continuing with the vision that you sort of are starting?
So they act like role models for other refugees and for other migrants as well. So when we support them, I'll take the barber shop as an example. Now I have 4 other barbers. They want to start business like this guy. They came to me. We know that you supported this guy. We would like to do the same. Would like to start our own barber shop. At the beginning, we don't say yes. Okay, let's do it. We just ask them to get a business plan, a cash flow, and then to try to find a suitable shop for their business. And then we start to provide them with a training. And when we find them ready, we help them to start their business. But as I said, it's like inspiration and empowerment for other refugees and migrants. At the same time, it highlights the contribution of the migrant community to the city. Because I'm proud that I'm a migrant to this beautiful country. And I'm proud to see that I contributed to society in a way or another. And I'd like all other migrants to be proud of themselves that we are building the country with local community as well. We are ourselves locals now. This is what we're trying to do, what we're trying to present to the community, to change the misconceptions and stereotypes about migrants, about refugees. Because I'm pretty sure you agree with me, this Tony, that sometimes, I'm not saying all the time, some people, they look at migrants or especially to refugees, that they just like a burden here. But in fact, they are contributing to the economy. They're contributing to society.
I'm not sure basically how this works. Maybe if you see this, you can tell us. Sometimes I come across people who holds this preconceived idea that each and every person who doesn't appear like they are white Australian, so to say, there's sort of a sectioning or a labeling that this person is a refugee. And perhaps it's because there's also a negative connotation attached to refugees themselves, as you said, that, people who are refugees are sort of viewed as a burden, so to say, and a burden that doesn't contribute into the economy, where else, in reality, like you said, some actually at best do contribute back into the economy. I'm a little bit confused sometimes in terms of the sectioning, and I wanted to know, what do you make out of it? Or is it something that you have seen before, where each and every, at most, people who are not appearing as white could be categorized as migrants, as opposed to thinking that, no, could be categorized as refugees, where else it could be thought of that, there's refugees, there's migrants, but at the same time, there's no need to sort of paint, people with one brush.
Again, what I'm trying to say is refugees are like other people. What is the definition of the word refugee? Someone who left his homeland, his country, because of a war, because of like political or religious views or whatever, moved to another country. Most of the refugees who arrive here, they came, of course, because of the war. They have barriers of language. That's why they stay the first 2, 3, some stay 4 years just learning the language. At the time, they just having the settling payments. That's why here comes that labeling or that stereotypes. Refugees. They just getting money from the government and so and so. But if these people, they have the language because they have the skills. They used to run businesses back home. They used to be entrepreneurs. They used to be leaders back home. But imagine you throw someone in another place, completely different culture, different language, different accent if they speak English. So that's why it's a challenge for them. That's why when we help people, when you find someone refugee successful, he's like a role model for other refugees, encouraging them to start to be the same like him.
How do you work, though, the assimilation? Because I've heard a critique before that many people in the migrant community, to sort of integrate or assimilate into the new modern culture, there's still a little bit of holding back. So how do you help them with that? Or is it even something that you sort of focus on or not?
Some people say that, okay, you should just start to have this, to embrace Australian culture and just leave your back home culture, which I totally against that. And they assume or they argue that by doing this, you establish quickly, you settle quickly. But in fact, it's your own identity and culture that enables you to maintain your personality, your morals here. So you should adapt the culture and you should assimilate the culture as well, but at the same time keep your own culture. For me, I'm proud to have Egyptian, Arab, Islamic culture. That's my culture. At the same time, I'm proud to have the Australian culture. I'm living here almost 9 years. So I combine between both of them.
Yeah.
And that what makes my character, my personality. I always, because I know it's an area of debate.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, one of the things that we see, and I'm not sure how you feel about some of these political questions, Doc, but I do have to ask you. We see in Sydney the stabbing of the priest Mary Emanuel in the Christian Orthodox Church.
Yeah.
And many people starting to attribute that into extremism, and very often we know, and we know this is the general behavior with media and just people when they're politicking, that if it's someone from the Middle East involved, there's that conclusion that, oh, another act of terrorism, right?
Okay, why don't we just remember, like 1 week before that incident, what happened in Mundai? So here, quickly declassified as mental something.
Yeah.
But here, terrorists, so on, Muslims. So this shows the contradictions in our community. It's not only here in Australia, by the way, it's all over the world.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing it clearly in your podcast here and to your audience. There is stereotypes and there is labeling about Muslims everywhere. And that's my role here, and the role of others Muslims and the role of other Arabs to show the beauty and the true Islamic culture.
Mm-hmm. But yes, I get that. Now, this is something that I wanted to get from you. In the case where, let's say, within the refugee community or within migrants themselves, and you come across a certain bad behavior, right? Because we also cannot come and claim as though migrants are not bound to err, right? Every human being is bound to err. How do you deal with somebody within the migrant community that you see that they're doing something at fault? Because I come across a lot of people who want to sort of be on the defensive side, right? To say, but even young Australians do, bad or dysfunctional youth behavior. Why do we have to meet a migrant with more approval, so to say? Or as an advocate in, the migrant space, you feel like it is incumbent upon each and every migrant to make sure that you never even make the slightest mistake at all. Because making a slightest mistake at all is bringing all the media propaganda, it's bringing all social media trolls to come and sort of throw harsh criticisms to migrants and refugees in particular.
Yeah. Personally, what I'm doing, and I know some other colleagues and friends, they're doing the same. We try to remind these people, these migrants or refugees, or maybe international students, to follow and respect the laws. And to ask themselves, is it ethical before legal, before anything?
All right.
Is it ethical?
Mm.
Do you think from inside what you're doing? Let's say the Centrelink, for example. A lot of people, they just get the Centrelink payments and they just work. And when they work, they ask for only cash. If it's once, if twice, it's okay, but they just ask for cash. I'm against it. And I'm meeting this a lot of times with some people.
So the catch of it is tax invasion.
Yeah, because this is, it's illegal, of course.
Yeah.
But before it is illegal, it's unethical.
Yeah.
That someone getting money because he doesn't have a job. And at the same time, he has a job and he gets some money. That's why creating that business opportunities, encouraging those people to leave Centrelink payments and just start businesses.
Mm.
And I wish that one day in Australia we see, like, I'm pretty sure in Germany it will come soon, that digital currency. So we have it here in Australia. So everything will be digital and no cash.
One of the things, Doc, I dislike about the inconsistencies of the languages, you've actually echoed it not so long ago, that there is sort of unfair reporting. I just want to hear what your thought is about this. I see this also happening quite a lot in the context of education. Right now, there's a high political contestation about, migration policies with regards to international education, which is one of the key players in, international export in Australia. I mean, there was a meeting sometime today between leaders of universities and ministers in the government, federal level, to talk about, capping the numbers of international students and whatsoever. Then you get to hear a lot of reports. You look at data, you find that we're talking about a 40 plus, billion year revenue in the context of higher education. But at the same time, also you see that we are talking about, are you right? Can I continue?
Yeah.
And at the same time, we are talking about 200,000 Australians are employed because of, the higher education sector. But then there's this whole lot of also contestations and blames about how there is urban congestions, there's issues of accommodation and so on and so forth. Part of the inconsistencies for me that I see a lot is the fact that it's only the negative that are pointed out in relation to international students, about, they're here taking jobs, they're here doing whatever. But at the same time, there's no accounting to the fact that some of the jobs that are done by international students, the actual citizens themselves, they don't want to do those jobs.
Yep.
Right? You think during COVID times how even our supermarkets ran out of foods because there was nothing happening, in terms of agriculture, harvesting wise. There wasn't, people in the farms doing their work, and there was a lot of promises which were made to people who were unsure. As you say, if you want to do this job, you'll get this packs and those packs and get a chance to even take food home with you and blah, blah, blah. So what do you make in terms of all these consistencies? What do you think would be the best way for us to improve the way in which we communicate about refugees and migrants as Australia?
So when migrants hear about the changes in migration policies and all of that, that creates like a confusion among migrants, and that makes us also feel like, I don't like to say we are not valued here, because in fact we are here in the community. What are the two important things in our life? Health and maybe food. And you mentioned the food, like the farms, that example. So we need laborers, we need people to work in these farms. I'm proud to say we, in our organizations, we helped one of the refugees here in Newcastle to start his own farm.
Oh, nice.
Here, through our network, we helped him to start the farm here in Morisset. And now he has his own farm. He provides vegetables like parsley, coriander, tomatoes to some restaurant here in the city. And also he's planting garlic. It's like 1 acre, I assume. So he contributes, or no, now he's contributing. The other two important field here is health. Go to any hospital in Sydney, Newcastle, in Melbourne. You can now respect migration and how migrants contribute to the economy. You will find an Indian doctor, an Arabic doctor, Pakistani doctor, Chinese doctor, Asian doctor. So the nurse, even the staff who work, the receptionist, everywhere. So I just have a question: why government is not encouraging or finding professional systems that helps to cover that gap in the jobs? Let's say in the health sector after COVID, of course, is still like a high demand for staff.
What kind of staff? Nurses or?
In all medical fields. In all medical fields, there is a high demand of staff. I have friends who are working there, and they struggle. They said we work like 10 hours. Some work 12 hours. And if you go to the hospital, you're going to stay 6-7 hours waiting in the emergency. So we still need like new policies and new effective like strategies to attract migrants to Australia.
They want migrants out. You still want more migrants in?
Yes, yes, I'm advocate of that.
Uh-huh. Is there anything that one can say, but enough is enough in terms of the intake? Let me put for you another political question.
You like political questions?
Well, I'm from political science, obviously.
Okay.
How much should one say enough is enough? And also the fact that part of the pushing against migrants, it's because there's this fear that has been spread, not in Australia, but you see it in the UK, in Canada, the whole speaking about, the people from Muslim faith, they're becoming a lot here, and we should accept this procreation within them. Yeah. There's a healthy procreation, meaning numbers are growing. Probably in 10 years' time, you might find a great number of people within the Muslim faith. And that poses certain threats, is to say, if these children grow up 30 years from here, we're starting to see sort of an overthrow in terms of the fact that there's certain good principles, let's agree, that they're being taught within, children from Islamic background, issues about the sanctity of the family, sticking together, and so on and so forth. Chances are even that can have an effect into voting patterns. So part of the threads that are sort of spoken about outside is exactly that 30 years down the line, this will be a Muslim nation. But I don't know why people only think about that through the lens of the Muslim nation, right? When I asked the question, how much is enough, casting also my critical faculties to what is happening now in Israel. If you look at the history and how, the Jewish people make it entry, and then now it's a big fight. The conversation is no longer a two-state solution. Now it escalated further, where on the one hand, there's an argument of we're fighting Hamas, but actually now it's innocent people's lives that are being confronted at the same time. So all those things has been, there's a lot of debates about that. But I guess my point is, all of those at the same time become sort of historic things that we can make a reference to. My only concern becomes if we make scare threats only to people of color without thinking about the fact that, but there was also colonization at the same time, and the main drivers of it were not people of color. So how much enough would you say is enough in this context in terms of letting migrants come in, if ever there is any of such?
Enough is enough, I can say, to what's happening in Palestine now. To the genocide that the whole world are silent. No human being can accept what is happening there. That's a literally genocide, killing innocent people. 2 days ago, and you dragged me to talk about politics. So 2 days ago,
it's not my intention. I'm sorry. It's almost like when you're going to go speak with a pastor.
I don't like to talk about politics because it's nonsense. Human rights, United Nations, peace. Really, after what's happening recently in Palestine, I don't like to talk about single word about human rights. Yeah. If anyone came and invite me to come, we invite you for like a workshop about human rights. Where is human rights? Even let's connect it with our topic about migration. Where is human rights if you stop migration to a country that during COVID, the doctors were in the hospital, like threatening, risking their lives. I don't like to say that many doctors from like migrants background, but I can see my eyes here that the migrants, they contribute greatly to the economy. Some people, again, those people are the same people who just talk about human rights and they just silent about what's happening now in Palestine. And even they refuse to call it like genocide. It's genocide. They're the same people who are arresting the students in the universities in America, the professors. Pretty sure the videos were so famous about professors, and they are not Muslim professors. They are like professors, other beliefs, and they have been arrested. And I really am proud of what the American students doing. One more thing, I wish peace. I wish, like, I'm advocate of peace, advocate of inclusive, advocate of respecting each other, about dealing with each other as human beings, regardless of your background. You are practicing Christian.
Yeah.
I'm a practicing Muslim.
Yeah.
We meet in the office. We are office mates in university. We're doing PhD.
Yeah.
We respect each other. We show values to each other. However, we didn't meet a lot, but still, when we meet, you remember good days we were together in the office, and the same for me. But it's politics. That's why I'm telling you, politics are poison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get what you mean, and totally agree. Especially when you say the fact that it seems as if some phrases are more effective only to one group of society than the other. When we speak of peace or we speak of human rights, it seems as if then human rights are applicable only to one group compared to the other. I mean, you see this a lot in how even the nation would open up for people from Ukraine, for instance, but close up from people from Palestine.
That's
all those things speak exactly about how
hypocrisy.
we are sort of exploiting these words, freedom, human rights, and so on and so forth. This is not to say also that there isn't great parts, because at the same time, I don't want us to sort of charge these big organizations as though they are not doing nothing at all. There are certain wins, but obviously there's more wins that we are expecting, and more wins for everybody, not just only wins for some.
That's why the war now in Gaza, it's a war against Islam. It's not about what's happening 7th of October. It's happening a long time ago. A long time ago, when these people, the Canaani people, the Palestinian, the owners of the land, that's why there is like a shared common history between them and the Aboriginal people here in Australia. They have been kicked out away. They have been a lot of suffering, a lot of stress. That's why we wish that peace happen, and we are sure that there will be like an end.
Yeah.
Sooner or later, there will be an end for what's happening, and they will get their lands, and they will free Al-Aqsa Mosque, and this will happen definitely sooner or later. This is a belief, like we in our religion, we believe in that. And we know that they are passing through distress, but we can do whatever we can. We just can't pray to them at the moment to be safe for the families and the kids.
That's true.
Back to our topic.
Doc, I love your work. Yeah, to get back to your topic, I really wanted to sort of give you the flowers in terms of the work that you do, because what I love about it is that at least your work is sort of rewriting and reasserting the narratives about migrants also being effective in the community, and trying to sort of debunk the belief and the narratives that are sort of negatively leaning about migrants, to say these are people who are here to just take our jobs and take whatever. They're not making any contributions. Indeed, in your work, you're sort of putting the fact that they are actually making contributions to society. And also you are teaching ethics. I like the point when you speak about, before we speak about legal or not, we have to ask the question, is it ethical?
Yeah.
First. I think that's actually a very beautiful approach.
Because we with my respect to laws and all of that, the rules, it can be broken. And just saying laws and rules have been made to be broken.
Yeah.
But ethics, it can never be broken. And everyone, you ask yourself before you do this, before you get money from the government or pension money, that you have a pension, you have an injury, the government giving you this money that you stay home because you cannot work. But you go and work and getting cash. This is unethical, of course. That's why supporting refugees and those genuine or serious people to start their business. Really, when I find anyone have this sense, I guide him. I connect him with the organization here. Recently, I connected some people with the business center here in Newcastle, with Business Connect program, with attending some workshops about business training. We thrive to help them with a financial loan with that free interest. All of this creates like it shows how they contribute to the economy, and it shows also it promotes diversity and inclusion, and it shows the multicultural face of Australia and how society is multicultural, and it changes the perceptions and misconceptions. And at the same time, it's an inspiration and empowerment of the newly arrived migrants and refugees.
Amazing. I really love your work. I love also seeing the fact that you're so passionate about it, even when we are off the pod, like off the way you speak about, your programs about migrants as well.
What I really would like to see with the organization, not only here in the Hunter, all over Australia, because I attended a lot of meetings. It's a lot of meetings have a lot of ideas, a lot of like plans, but later on, these plans go away. So there should be some like agenda, some plans.
Why are they going away? Is it failed accountability? Why
I don't know. Honestly, I attended with some organizations, and when I sit with them in the meeting, I feel that they are serious, and they're just writing reports and submitting to the government. Oh, we are doing this. We are doing this. We did that. We did that. We did that project. But come and check the outcome of the project seriously. In the school holiday, last school holiday, me, my wife Susan, and I invited another like trainee teacher. We started together a program for the refugees youth here, the Arab refugees youth, and I'm proud of this program because the outcome which I received, it was very nice outcome. My wife designed like a program by WHO about life coach, life skills, and we start to teach the students about empathy and sympathy and what is the difference, and some like perspectives about how to improve your personality, how to get confidence. And then I came in another session, start to teach them about presentation skills, how to do a presentation.
That's beautiful.
And James also, he gave them some lessons about study plans, and he taught them some writing skills. It was like 7 days in the school holiday. The fund was from the City of Newcastle Council.
Wow.
It was $4,000.
How many people attended?
Around 15.
That's a big number.
And because it's a school holiday, most of the high school kids, they go to work to earn some money. That's why some of them said, we wish that this program during the school days, because we organized it in the last 2 years. And every year we used to have over 25. So what I need, we need the government, we need the local organization to look after youth, especially youth, because they are going to build this society. We need more programs, more initiatives for youth, especially high school students, to guide them to go to university, to have a better future career. Because when we talk with the kids, what do you want to study? Medicine, pharmacy, engineering. They can do it, but they just need mentorship. And this is what we try to do to fill that gap about mentorship and guidance.
Yeah. And Doc, if maybe lastly from my side, how do people get to see your work? Like if you can share your website, if there's any visuals there that people can see, pictures and whatnot, and any contacts that they can.
We have our website called Connect, and recently I started to be active in LinkedIn. I'm going to promote also our page in LinkedIn with other projects we have done. So recently we completed a project it's a video project. We recorded 4 videos. 1 video for students and how they settle here and how they overcame the challenges. Another video for people who started business and they are successful. A 3rd video was for professionals from refugee background and they work in different fields in the community. And the last one was for some artists, people who have like an art. And the whole videos, the whole project, it shows what we're trying to focus in our organization, to show inclusiveness, to promote or to change the misconceptions or the stereotypes. And the 3rd one was to show empowerment and to help these people to set up. So we started to be known recently. A lot of organizations start to communicate with us, and hopefully next year we're gonna grow our team. We start to build a team recently. So
what's the full website's name?
caldconnect.com.au.
And any contact numbers?
And we have a Facebook page. Contact number is my number.
They'll find it there.
Yeah. My number is 24/7.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
you want to call
website.
it out?
0415 110 147.
Right.
Yeah, we have a Facebook page as well. We work with Newcastle Mosque to organize the events for the community. So we organized Eid Festival. We organized picnic before. We held it in the Newcastle Mosque Open Day, which shows also like it was very successful event. We have events coming soon. We do other program for the youth, like social soccer. So hopefully in the next 6 months we have a good plan.
That's amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks, Doc. It's been great
Thank you, Dr.
hearing
Lee.
from you, and I wish you all the best with the organization. Many successes.
Thank you for having me and wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Listeners of the Visions and Tones, that was Dr. Ashraf Abdelbaky, and he's got a PhD in English literature. He's an educator, language specialist, cultural expert, business development officer, and the managing director of CALD Connect. He's already given us his details. Please support his work. And as you do that, remember to go ye and be best human beings and best versions of yourselves. And we'll see you next time. Cheers.
Thank you.
This is the Visions and Tones podcast with Dr. T.